Disaster in the South China Sea. China has taken a major step towards military domination. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. China has taken a major step towards becoming the most dominant military power in Asia. And I don't mean by just sitting back and watching Russia lose face over their invasion of Ukraine. For years, China has been building artificial islands in the South China Sea. China got so tired of not being able to invade Taiwan, they literally said, yeah, well, I'm going to go build my own islands with blackjack and hookers. The Chinese regime also claims the entire South China Sea as Chinese territory. Trillions of dollars of shipping goes through these waters, plus vast untapped natural resources like oil and gas. Now, the U.S. tried to get China to stop building these artificial islands, but China built them anyway. So the U.S. said, okay, just don't militarize them. And China promised it wouldn't. I mean, like Xi Jinping promised Obama to his face that he wouldn't. Well, guess what? China has fully militarized the Isles. So blackjack, hookers, and fully militarized. That's according to Admiral John C. Aquilino, the head of the U.S. Navy's Indo-Pacific Command. New photos show just how much buildup has happened. These islands are now armed with anti-ship and anti-aircraft missile systems, laser and jamming equipment, and fighter jets. Now, any military and civilian plane flying over the disputed waterway could easily get within range of the Chinese island's missile system. Think about that next time you fly to Asia. Although after dealing with the guy sitting next to you snoring for the entire 20-hour flight, you might actually welcome a missile barrage. The three militarized islands are on Mischief Reef, Subi Reef, and Fiery Cross. China has other artificial islands which are also being militarized. Aquilino told the Associated Press, I think over the past 20 years we've witnessed the largest military buildup since World War II. They have advanced all their capabilities, and that buildup of weaponization is destabilizing to the region. And that could have dire repercussions for the United States and you. More after the break. Welcome back. China has fully militarized at least 3 of the many artificial islands it built in the South China Sea. And that's just the beginning. China has the world's second largest military budget and has a navy that surpasses the size of the United States. The Chinese regime wants to use that military to seize control of Taiwan. If it is victorious, China will have undisputed control over the Asia-Pacific. That means the trillions of dollars of shipping that goes through the region will be hostage to the Chinese regime. You think the current inflation and supply chain issues are bad? Just imagine what it would mean for the U.S. if China can cut off shipping to the U.S. The only thing you'd be able to buy off of Amazon would be a case of Budweiser and a box of crayons, which actually sounds like a fun way to spend an evening. China already requires foreign ships to provide information including their ship names and numbers, recent locations, satellite telephone numbers, and dangerous goods to Chinese forces. China also says it will use force if necessary. Now, of course, we've known for years that the Chinese Communist Party was militarizing these islands, but we haven't been able to stop them from doing it. I don't know what else U.S. officials can do. They already tried asking nicely. Maybe they should try asking really, really nicely. The U.S. also hasn't been able to stop Chinese harassment of Taiwan. The U.S. Navy does conduct what's called freedom of navigation operations. Basically, the U.S. sends warships or planes through international waters or airspace that China claims belongs to them. In fact, Admiral Aquilino gave his interview to the Associated Press in the middle of one of these operations. During the patrol, they were repeatedly warned by Chinese callers that it illegally entered what they said was China's territory and ordered the plane to move away, which they did not do. Unfortunately, these freedom of navigation patrols are only a stopgap measure. They prevent the Chinese regime from outright taking control, but we've seen the trend. Eventually, unless they're stopped, China will be able to control and expel anyone they want from the South China Sea. So what does Admiral Aquilino recommend? He said conflicts should only be resolved peacefully and cited the Philippine government's successful move to bring its disputes with China to international arbitration in 2013 as a good template. Wait, I remember that. The tribunal rejected Beijing's claims in the South China Sea. And China totally ignored it and built military islands. Sorry, Admiral Aquilino, I think it's a trap. I guess asking really, really nicely won't work after all. Looks like we'll have to bring out the big guns and say, pretty please, with sugar on top? And we could not make this show without the support of viewers like you. So as a thank you to fans who contribute on our crowdfunding platform on Patreon or our exclusive social media community on Locals, I answer a question from them at the end of each episode. Today's question comes from Bounty Flamour on Patreon. Hello, Chris. To what degree and how do you think Confucianism still affects decision-making at the CCP? Well, that's an interesting question. The Chinese Communist Party has spent decades systematically destroying traditional Chinese culture. There was even a specific campaign against Confucianism. Here are Red Guards tearing down parts of the Confucius Temple during the Cultural Revolution. That's because the essence of traditional Chinese culture is how to create harmony between people, humanity, and the universe. But communism has at its foundation a culture of struggle. Traditional Chinese culture is incompatible with modern communist Chinese culture. It's kind of like trying to date a vegan when you're a butcher. However, the Chinese regime understands that people are fascinated by traditional Chinese culture. So the party says it now represents the culmination of 5,000 years of Chinese culture. That's why they created things like the Confucius Institute, essentially a Trojan horse to sneak communist propaganda into schools around the world. So the only way Confucianism actually affects the party's decision-making is, how can they use it to achieve their own communist ends? Thanks for your question, Bounty Flamour, and your support. And thank you for watching. If you'd like to help us keep the show running, contribute on patreon.com/China Uncensored. All it takes is $1 an episode. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.